The Israeli government approved an emergency regulation to shut down media outlets they consider harmful to state security. The Qatari network Al Jazeera was the first to be affected by the measure. Secretary General of the United Nations Organization Antonio Guterres is in Egypt to speed up the delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza in view of the extreme situation that thousands of people in the enclave are living in. Haitian police confirmed the arrest of Joseph Filiberio, the main suspect of having planned the assassination of President Jovenel Moise in 2021. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Rosabal from the TeleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. Israeli attacks on Camp Johnny, southwest of the Gaza Strip, left 21 people dead and at least 79 wounded, most of them, in both cases, women and children. The attack was carried out between Thursday night and early Friday morning against 6 residential houses full of civilians. The figure brings to more than 3,800 the partial death toll of the occupiers yet. The wounded have been transferred to the Nasser hospital where there are no more anesthetics or medicines. The bombing targeted the neighbors of Satun and Suyaeya, where a large number of houses were reduced to ashes. The Israeli government on Friday approved an emergency regulation to shut down media outlets they consider harmful to state security. The Qatari network Al Jazeera was the first to be affected by the measure. The executive decision coincides with the publication of the detailed Al Jazeera report that demolishes the theory about the perpetrator of the Al-Ali hospital bombing, which killed more than 500 people. The initiative was approved by Yoav Gallant, the occupier's defense minister, and received the approval of the Security Cabinet. The closure statement accuses Al Jazeera of collaborating with the enemy, referring to Hamas. Around the world, citizens ratified the support for Palestine, while condemning the Israeli bombings that have caused more than 3,800 Palestinian deaths. After an attack on a hospital in the Gaza Strip, European and Latin American countries have taken to the streets to demand an immediate ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, which has claimed the life of many Palestinian civilians, most of them children and women. They also demanded the right to life of the Palestinian population in the United Nations Declaration on the creation of an Arab and Jewish state to be respected. In Brazil, the National Union of Students called for demonstrations in the last 11 cities to show their support for Palestine after the Israeli bombing of the Gaza Strip. At least 2 demonstrators were held in solidarity with the Palestinian people prompted by the destruction of Al-Ali hospital in the city of Gaza, which left at least 500 people dead. The National Union of Students issued a statement calling for an immediate ceasefire in Gaza. Among the cities where the march were Manaus, Praia Grande, Terminal, Sao Paulo, and Rio de Janeiro. Meanwhile, in Turkey, citizens stood to the street of the eastern city of Batman carrying Palestinian flags and chanting various slogans to reiterate the support and solidarity to Palestine and its people. At the same time, they rejected the crimes committed by Israel against the Palestinians. In Palestine, the total Israeli siege against the population of the Gaza Strip continues. Only 13 days of occupation forces, including authorities, reported more than 3,800 deaths and more than 13,500 wounded.
The Palestinian Health Ministry reported on Thursday that at least 46 Palestinians were killed following Israeli airstrikes on homes in the towns of Rafah and Khan Yunis in the center of Gaza, while 21 other Palestinians were killed by shelling on the Sheikh Radwan neighborhood in Jabalia camp and several areas in the center of Gaza. Israeli forces also imposed a military siege on the North Shams refugee camp in Tulkarm in the northern West Bank, where several young people were killed and others injured after resisting looting and house raids by occupation troops. Russia sent 27 tons of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip on the orders of President Vladimir Putin. The Ministry of Emergency Situations said that the cargo will be handed over to representatives of the Egyptian Red Crescent for distribution to civilians in Gaza. The Brazilian Ministry of Defense informed on Thursday that the BC-2 plane, which was waiting in Rome, landed at the international airport of El Arish in Egypt with 267 kilograms of humanitarian aid sent by the government of Lula da Silva.
Con 267 kilogramos de ayuda humanitaria enviada por el gobierno de Lula da Silva.
In parallel, the King of Jordan and the President of Egypt held a meeting in Cairo where they discussed the Israeli siege in the Gaza Strip and the deterioration of the humanitarian situation in the area. The leaders rejected Tel Aviv's actions to displace Palestinians from their territory towards Cairo and Amman. In this regard, Cuba's Foreign Minister Bruno Rodriguez expressed on behalf of the Caribbean country its solidarity with the Palestinian cause, its right to sovereignty, while condemning the war actions against Gaza. Several Palestinian demonstrators marched in the center of Ramallah in the West Bank while carrying Palestinian flags and chanting during a demonstration condemning Israel's military action in the Gaza Strip. Likewise, in France and Germany, citizens protested in the streets of the capital cities in favor of the people of Palestine. At the same time, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry called on the international community to demand that Israel stop the attacks and open the humanitarian crossings to cover the basic needs of its citizens.
The Secretary General of the United Nations Organization, Antonio Guterres, arrived on Thursday in Egypt to speed up the delivery of humanitarian aid to Gaza in view of the extreme situation that thousands of people in the enclave are living in. Although it was speculated that the entry would begin on Friday, the Office of the High Commissioner for Human Rights in Geneva is still in talks with all the parties involved in the conflict. During Biden's visit to Israel, it was announced that only 20 trucks will be authorized by the Tel Aviv. However, on Friday, there is no estimated date. In the meantime, Egypt claims that the roads were severely damaged by the Israeli bombing that took place 2 days ago.
I'm calling for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire. For nearly 2 weeks, the people of Gaza have gone without any shipments of fuel, food, water, medicine, and other essentials. I'm calling for 2 immediate humanitarian actions: to Hamas, for the immediate and unconditional release of the hostages; to Israel, for immediate unrestricted access of humanitarian aid to respond to the most basic needs of the people of Gaza.
And we go now to our correspondent Noor Hazin, who's at the Rafah border with the latest updates from the region. Let's listen.
So we are actually at the front gate of the Rafah border between Egypt and Gaza. And even though Egypt said that they will reopen Rafah border today, Friday, to allow humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip, however, the border is closed until now. This has happened before during the week. Egypt repeatedly said that they will be opening the Rafah border to allow medical supplies and food supplies to enter the Gaza Strip. However, until this moment, the border is closed. We're talking about around 20 to 30 trucks loaded with humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza, especially that the Gaza Strip is suffering a dire need of especially water, canned food, milk, flour, bread, and also the hospitals are actually suffering the lack of medicine and medical supplies that they started to treat people on the floors of the hospital. They started also the doctors to just treat people with only moderate to serious injuries. Those with minor injuries, they just do some stitches and some bandages, and that's it. There is actually no one here but media crews. That's it, and journalists. There's no people, there's no workers. It's totally quiet here.
Let's take a short break. But remember to join us on TikTok at TeleSUR English. We'll find news in different formats, new dates, some more. Our study is coming up. Stay with us. Welcome back. Haitian police confirmed Thursday the arrest of Jovenel Moise, the main suspect of having planned the assassination of President Jovenel Moise in 2021. After 2 years, body was captured in a supermarket in Pétionville, an exclusive suburb of Port-au-Prince, the capital of the country. Gary de Rosier confirmed the arrest of the man who was an official of the Ministry of Justice until the way before the assassination of the president. Several detainees reported in their statement that Jovenel Moise was the mastermind of the entire operation perpetrated on July 7, 2021, in which Martin Moise, one of the assassinated president, was also injured. The president of the National Assembly of Venezuela, Jorge Rodriguez, rejected the interventionism statements made by the U.S. officials. The statements were offered by Rodriguez on behalf of the Board of Directors of the National Assembly and a Commission for Dialogue, in order to categorically reject the statements of the U.S. official who warned that the partial lifting of the unilateral coercive measures of Venezuela is not definitive. Since non-compliance with the terms of these agreements will lead us to go back on the steps that have been taken. In his opinion, Rodriguez pointed out that the White House document is unacceptable, it is false, and categorically does not correspond to reality. The president of the National Assembly of Venezuela, Jorge Rodriguez, referred on Thursday to the relevance of the announcement made by the U.S. Treasury Department to grant a broad license for the production, marketing, exploration, and sale of Venezuelan oil, and once again rejected the intermission of third countries in the internal affairs of the country.
To reject categorically because of its lies, because of being because of interfering. The Secretary of State and Anthony Blinken and Mr. Guaido, what they pointed out, it's clearly they are ignoring the Constitution and laws of Venezuela. At this point, they must know that the government of Venezuela doesn't accept pressures of any country or any organization whatsoever. We don't accept, we will never accept any kind of interference in our own business.
Jorge Rodriguez also pointed out the importance of the letter of the session against the Venezuelan economy and highlighted the legitimacy of the electoral process in Venezuela.
We accept the participation of observers or of international observers. We are proud of President of Venezuela's elections.
In Argentina, the political parties closed their campaigns for the election of next Sunday, October 22. Candidates say Hamas of the Union for the Patriot Party decided to close its campaign in factory as a symbol of what it believes it is essential to sustain if he's elected president. Candidate Patricia Burrich of the Juntos por el Cambio Party will close her campaign in the Monarense party of Loma y Zamora. While candidate Javier Milei closed his electoral campaign on Wednesday with a speech focused on privatization and dollarization of the economy, and announced that if he becomes president, he will break off relations with countries such as Brazil, China, and the Vatican. We have a second job break coming up, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at TeleSUR English, where you'll be able to rewatch our interviews, top stories, special broadcastings, and more. Hit the subscribe button and activate the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's more recent events. Final job break, don't go away. Welcome back. In Sudan, the number of hungry families has almost doubled in the past year, where the war between generals has plunged the country into chaos for 6 months. According to a press release by the World Health Organization and the United Nations Children's Funds, 700,000 children suffer from severe acute malnutrition and 100,000 need life-saving treatment against acute malnutrition. Citing the projection from Johns Hopkins University, the statement said that at least 10,000 children under the age of 5 could die by the end of 2023 due to the increased food insecurity and service disruption caused by the country's armed conflict. War broke out last April 15 between the army led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and the paramilitaries of the Rapid Support Forces of General Mohammed Hamdan Daglo. According to a largely underestimated toll, the conflict has killed over 9,000 people and left millions of refugees and displaced. In the same context, the deputy spokesperson for the Secretary General Farhan Haq alluded to the humanitarian aid that was delivered yesterday, Wednesday, to those affected by the conflict in South Africa, and declared that there is an increase in the number of people infected with cholera.
Yesterday, the 18th of October, the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs facilitated 44 trucks with relief supplies to Kordofan and Darfur. Prior to this, the movement of supplies was delayed for 6 consecutive weeks due to insecurity. The convoy is transporting supplies from the UN Relief Agency, Refugee Agency, the World Food Programme, and UNICEF. Regarding the health situation in the country, the World Health Organization says that more than 1,400 suspected cases of cholera and 64 associated deaths have been reported in Sudan since the cholera outbreak was declared late last month. Humanitarian agencies have scaled up their response to the outbreak, which comes as Sudan's healthcare system is stretched to its limits.
A member of the International Atomic Energy Agency team visiting Japan has declared on Thursday that he does not expect any rise in radiation levels in the first cut in the regional cyst. The statement was made after the first marine sampling taken by the IAEA since the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant started releasing treated radioactive water into the sea. The team watched floundered and other popular kinds of fish being caught off the coast early Thursday and brought on boats to the Hiso Nahama port in southern Fukushima for an action. Fukushima Daiichi started releasing wastewater into the sea on August 24. The release, which is expected to continue for decades, has been strongly opposed by fishing groups and neighboring countries, including South Korea, where hundreds of people have protested.
We do expect to see a small elevated levels of, small rise in levels of tritium in seawater that is sampled from very close to the discharge point. But otherwise, we expect to find levels that are very similar to what we measured last year. Well, I think it's important that we come here and we see exactly how it's done. I think everything has been very open and transparent, so we've been able to watch the fish coming in off the boats, being landed, and then being packed for samples.
And we have come to the end of this brief. You can find these so many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. And join us on social media, Facebook, X, Instagram, Telegram, and TikTok. For TeleSUR English, I'm Ana Rosabal. Thank you for watching.